Hello everyone, welcome back. This is RandoGEEK. Alright, in this video we're going to be talking about T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, as well as Sprint. The reason for this video is there was a lawsuit brought against T-Mobile by AT&T and Verizon customers who are blaming the merger with T-Mobile and Sprint for them having to pay higher prices. Apparently, AT&T and Verizon went up on their prices to remain competitive once the merger between T-Mobile and Sprint took place. Now, AT&T and Verizon customers received an opportunity to attack T-Mobile and try to get money out of them for having to pay more for their wireless plans with AT&T and Verizon. This is actually an interesting story, although some of you are probably going to say, well, what's the point of attacking T-Mobile? They have the right to merge with another company. No one told AT&T and Verizon to raise their prices. They did that out of fright, out of fear that they wouldn't be good enough or whatever the reason is. And, to be honest, if you're thinking that, that is true. If AT&T or Verizon were the ones to have merged with Sprint, I'm sure they wouldn't want T-Mobile knocking on their door, blaming them for having to raise prices on their customers. This is a two-way street here. This is an open business. Any one of these companies had opportunities to make these kinds of moves. They haven't done it. T-Mobile's been the one that's been going out and looking for new prospects continuously, always looking for new mergers, new prospects. It's something that T-Mobile's been really good at, and they've been successful at it. And with the blessings of the FCC, they've been able to get away with it, of course. So now, is this a problem for competition? Has it been? A little bit, yeah. I think T-Mobile has certainly got the upper edge once they did that merger with Sprint. It certainly helped them and gave them a massive leverage in building out their 5G network, without a doubt. But again, any one of these other companies could have tried to do something like this. They just haven't done it. But anyway, here's the story. So it looks like back in November of 2023, AT&T and Verizon customers were given a go-ahead to proceed with their lawsuit against T-Mobile, which said the company's merger with Sprint caused the other two major carriers to increase prices. They're saying, however, T-Mobile can now appeal to block the lawsuits, according to reports by Reuters, which is where Phone Arena, where I have this article coming from, got their update, which, this will be linked down for you in the description, if you can check it out if you want. So they're saying, though, last year, District Judge Thomas Durkin said that AT&T and Verizon subscribers could move ahead with the case and declined to throw it out. He believed that the plaintiffs met the legal thresholds needed to sue by arguing that the higher prices they were facing was a direct result of $26 billion T-Mobile Sprint merger. So that was the result of the merger between T-Mobile and Sprint. The proposed lawsuit represented tens to hundreds of millions of consumers, they're saying. Its goal was to secure a range of penalties, including reversal of the 2020 merger. They're saying Judge Durkin said on Wednesday that T-Mobile can appeal the decision now instead of at a later stage in the case. T-Mobile argued that AT&T and Verizon customers lack legal standing to seek billions in claimed damages. The company also said that AT&T and Verizon set their own prices, and the merger cannot be held responsible for what they do. 100% I agree with that. Like I'm saying, yes, the merger with T-Mobile and Sprint tightened the rope around AT&T and Verizon's neck. It made competition far more scarce, far more difficult. But those two companies still make decisions on their pricing. They could have adjusted. They could have thought this out. They, offer more, make your company more competitive. You can't sit around and just blame T-Mobile for this. Now, to be fair, it's difficult, right? When two large wireless carriers get together. Sprint was the fourth largest carrier in the United States. As a result of this merger, we lost our fourth opportunity or a fourth option for a carrier, right? So now we only have three. And that's why we tried to bring in Dish to fulfill the shoes of Sprint, so we have more competition, we have more options. Dish is, on a road to possibly bowing out of the wireless industry altogether. We'll see how that goes. Only time will tell, right? They still have a little bit of time. We'll see if they can survive. But as of right now, we have 3 large carriers, and it is the result of this merger. So yes, this merger took away our 4th option. It also created a lot of unemployment. T-Mobile went back on its word, did what they said they weren't going to do, and they fired pretty much every Sprint employee that was working for Sprint. These were things that were not supposed to happen. T-Mobile fulfilled, a bunch of broken promises and did the exact opposite, or promised a whole bunch of good things, should I say, that would come with the merger, and they went back on all of that. Basically, they got rid of all the former Sprint employees. A lot of people were unemployed. A lot of the benefits that were supposed to come never showed up. And basically, T-Mobile lied about a lot of it, and they are guilty of that. And if there's any kinds of fines or fees that should be associated with that, I'm 100% I agree with that. I think that the FCC personally should attack T-Mobile for misrepresenting and lying about what the merger was actually going to be for and what would come of it. But AT&T and Verizon customers can't blame T-Mobile for AT&T and Verizon raising prices. That's their fault. We can blame T-Mobile for all the lies and, broken promises that they were supposed to fulfill. We can definitely blame them for that. I personally think that they played a dirty game of, clicking bait. Basically, they knew they were going to do this. They just wanted that spectrum. They wanted to build out 5G. So they're not innocent by any means. But you have to attack them for the right reason. Especially if you're trying to bring a lawsuit against them, you have to attack them for the right reason so that you can win your case. That's all I'm saying here. So what else do we have here? It looks like T-Mobile's attorneys requested Durkin to let them appeal now for the sake of efficiency and said that the plaintiff's expansive conception of antitrust standing is unprecedented. They said that forcing T-Mobile to go to court before an appellate ruling on standing could waste money and judicial resources. What else did they say here? T-Mobile actually made an interesting statement here, which they said back in November. T-Mobile's attorneys were very cleverly told the court that if AT&T and Verizon customers were unhappy with the prices they were paying, they should switch to T-Mobile instead of suing the company. Basically, leave AT&T and Verizon and come to us and pay better prices. So I found that funny, which is why I had to read that out to you. Especially at the time, T-Mobile's prices were even more competitive than they are today. But, I'd like to hear your comments down below if any of you want to talk about this. I know a lot of you listening to this are going to feel very strong about this merger that took place with T-Mobile and Sprint. A lot of you feel like you were lied to by T-Mobile. You were promised one thing and got another, or got nothing at all, should I say. And yes, like I said, a lot of unemployment, a lot of negative came about it. The only real positive is that T-Mobile was able to build out 5G much faster due to the merger. So at least we have that, right? We have a larger 5G network thanks to the merger. But I do think personally T-Mobile should be held liable for these lies. I think fines and fees should be associated with that because they broke promises. They were supposed to help boost the economy when they went ahead and actually made things worse. T-Mobile also is trying to say that at the time when, Sprint, AT&T and Verizon had to raise prices, they're saying that they should have took COVID-19 into consideration because it was 2020 around that time. Prices were pretty much skyrocketing for everything, which was true. And we're still paying for COVID-19 now, right? Things are still very expensive because of this pandemic. And it, hopefully within the next year or two, we'll start to see that taper off. So for now, it's still not where we want it. Only time will tell where this economy is going. It hasn't been looking good for a very long time. Still not looking good and probably won't be looking good for a couple more years. There's a lot of things that need to be changed around, right, in our country in order for things to kind of get back to a norm. But anyway, so T-Mobile does have a small point there. You know, you can blame that. You can blame the pandemic a little bit, but we'll see. We'll definitely see. I don't know. I think it's going to be hard for these T-Mobile and Verizon customers to really get anything out of them because they're attacking T-Mobile for the wrong thing. Now, what could happen is, you know, they could have, you know, former Sprint employees could attack T-Mobile and they could try to get a lawsuit against them because they went ahead and said that they were going to create jobs and they went ahead and took them away. Right? There was a whole list of promises that T-Mobile made. Like I said, they did not fulfill any of that. They made things worse as far as the economy is concerned. And T-Mobile profited off of this. So there's your lawsuit. If you're going to go against T-Mobile, this is the way to do it. Not blame, once again, T-Mobile for AT&T and Verizon being scared and raising prices because of the merger. So I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's how I feel about it. Anyway, thank you guys once again so much for stopping by and watching. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.